We are the vocal line. Hear me turn it up, can you hear the sound? We are the vocal line. Yeah, we do it for the love and we spread it around. Oh,
What up, folks? It's your boy Lefty, host of Channel VLR. I got my boys to my right.
It's your boy Flip, a.k.a. Levi Organic, the healthiest man on the planet. Let's do it.
And my boy.
You know, it's your boy Starks, the R&B concierge, back at it again for another episode.
All right, folks. Well, first of all, I want to say welcome to all of you out there, our new subscribers and new followers on IG. We really, really appreciate the love and support and the feedback. We see that you guys love our energy. You love the topics that we talk about. It's coming some of the debates that we get into. So first of all, I wanted to say thank you so much. Welcome to Channel VLR. We are for singers by singers, and you are Channel VLR. So thank you for your time and allowing us into your world. We really, really appreciate it. Now, this episode, what we're going to talk about? We're going to talk about a couple of things. First, specifically, we're going to talk about the BET Awards, right? But something happened in the BET Awards that sparked some controversy between two artists, right? And it brings up a bigger topic, meatier subject that I think it was a good opportunity for us to take advantage of and talk about. Why? Because I think it's really important that we bring this up. So we'll get into that a little bit more, right? But for now, did you guys see the BET Awards?
Sure did.
You did?
Yeah. Got a chance to check it out.
Awesome. So I enjoyed it. It was really, really interesting. I thought it was hilarious. Druski did his thing. I wasn't really like a big follower of Druski's, but I saw that he's been popping off for a while, and I think that I think he started out on social media, right? So you guys have been following him. Are you guys into Druski's content?
Yeah, he's all over social media. I see clips of him all the time, and I'm definitely a fan. He's not really your stand-up comedian type, but he follows what they're doing now, which is the skits, and he's mastered it, like his ideas, and he challenges every culture and everything that you've seen. Like his post is connected.
Yo, what was funny? His record label could have been Records.
Could have been Record. He even have a dating show. Could have been Love or Look.
Effing hilarious.
Yeah. He's doing his own thing. He got his own lane on. I think this year he made about $8 million.
Word?
Social media.
I enjoyed his hosting. It was really fun, and I didn't really I thought about like do music awards even matter like as much as they used to, and if they do, how much of an impact do they have? But then immediately, like we're talking offline, and Flip, you said this BET Award was one of the highest rated or highest viewed.
Yeah, since like 2018, it was definitely up there, and the ratings went like back up a lot. They were saying like 2.6 million viewers, viewed it, and like close to 9 million interactions on social media. So it definitely was one of the like buzzworthy, shows since a long time. And I think it had a lot to do with Druski. Like it's the reason he made $8 million this year. I think he brought his following. I think people wanted to tune in to see, how much fun he was going to have with it, and he delivered 100%.
Well, I saw him popping off on social media. He did a couple of like posts with Kevin Hart, and that's where really, because I follow Kevin Hart, and that's when I found him. It's like this guy is silly. He's mad silly. So the show was a lot of fun, and I'm glad that the numbers had the numbers are really high for BET. I think that BET as a cultural engine is really, really important to the culture, specifically Black culture. But I wanted to know, like, were there any performances you really enjoyed? Because like me watching it, there was a couple of performances that I enjoyed, but there was something about the structure that was kind of annoying. Because I'm watching it on Paramount Plus, so I'm watching it through streaming, and I felt like overall they only showed like maybe 5 or 6 like awards. I'm like, this got to be more than that. So I actually I wish that I would have been in the audience to see every single, because they don't really show or air every single award.
Yeah,
to know who's really.
1000% there were more awards. There was a most athletic of the year. I think they gave it to Aja, and then the male they gave to Brunson. There were a lot of other awards that happened in the background. You kind of like just gotta like go online to find those. So it definitely happened. But I guess for between the amount of skits that they had and the performances, they kind of had to do like a compressed version of the show just to like get it within that time slot.
What it really felt like, just to get in them damn ads, like there was just a lot of ads, and the structure felt like skit award ads, and then skit award ads.
Remember who's paying for those shows?
Yeah,
Ads.
yeah. And then also I think because it wasn't a really huge stage, and they had some really nice setups. So we'll get into the performances. The performances that we saw with each artist, they had like really nice stage setups, and they had those really expensive screens in the background. So I can see that the need to like have those breaks in between, and to fill those breaks they have the ads. I just felt like, yo, there wasn't enough like awards, but it's good to know that they did have a lot.
Kehlani had flaming wings. You know, you gotta do a lot of stuff to get a flaming wings.
Yeah. So I mean, we can go right into the. We got to go right into the performances, right? So I enjoyed the performances, and my favorite, hands down, was the one you just said. That to me, Kehlani's performance to me was the best one of the night. I loved it absolutely. Apart from the the Lauryn Hill section, that was a lot of fun too. But like any thoughts on some of the performances? What do you guys think?
Yeah, my favorite was the Lauryn Hill tribute, and I guess it's because it encompassed so many performances, but it made me emotional because one, I forgot how many hits that album had, and two, the same way taste can take you back in time, smell can take you back in time, music can take you back in time. And it took me back to that time where music was just dope. I was just like, I was pooping in the living room, singing all the songs. I loved her energy, her engagement. I thought it was dope that they brought her daughter out. Yeah, the performances were dope, but more so than anything, the songs. I was just like, yo, how long has it been since we've gotten an album like that? I was just like, the songs and the hits. I was like, I miss this. I miss it a lot.
I love how you said like music is a time machine, because that's exactly what it is for me. Like it does something to the brain. Like it literally takes you back to the point where you can actually remember like a smell to something too. Like I remember summertime when
what I was wearing.
Yeah, it's crazy how it is. Remind me of the song Cinderella Man from Eminem. There's a part where the singer in the background, I forgot his name, is he says, "Music is my time machine." Like, yes, absolutely, music is that. You know.
And she still looks good too. Black don't crack. Good luck.
Yo, Kev, I want to know your thoughts of like, who was like your favorite performance there, or any performances that you, before we go into the next segment. So, like, Kev, real quick, what do you think?
I mean, I felt like the females stole the show. Tems, Kehlani, your homegirl RAYE, Ari Lennox performed. Out of all the performances, I think the one I was most pleased with musically was Kehlani. As far as like, I like what she did to the song. I like how she brought it down a couple of steps down, slowed it down, mellowed it out, and just sat right there in her pocket. She found her comfortable key. And I thought that was a smart play on the song, because everybody know the song, so she was able to take it somewhere else and make it more, dramatic. But honestly, I feel like the dark horse for me was the girl RAYE. I felt like her performance was amazing. Did you see
Yeah,
RAYE?
she had a very She had. I mean, I love her voice. Her voice is amazing, and what she was doing technically with her voice was not easy.
No,
not my cup
easy.
of tea. Not my cup of tea. She can sing her ass, so I guess it's the style, that whole jazzy, like I just, it wasn't for me. She could sing though. I'm not saying that. I'm just like, I don't think I wouldn't play her stuff probably.
So is it because of the way she riffs and she plays with her voice, or just generally speaking, the genre you're not really?
Well, I mean, I guess it's a little bit. It's the way the song came off, because I guess I got to listen to a couple other her records, but that particular song or two, I was just like, I'm not really not really a fan of it.
It's hard for me to follow along because you couldn't really.
No, I feel like I can appreciate different styles and different types, but I can also be honest when I hear something that I'm like, I'm not really feeling that, and that's the vibe I got. It's not that she doesn't have the talent, the orchestra in the back, and I could tell she could blow, but I just wasn't my cup of tea. He brought up Kehlani, and I was just at Kehlani, and I was like, damn, she's in pocket. Like, how they say, I sound like the studio. I sound like, she sounds like the studio. Like, she sounds like they don't do a lot of work to her voice. Not saying that they do that to the other chick. I'm just saying, like, and I really enjoyed that performance.
I feel like all the vocals is like that. All the vocals is like that. I mean, for Ari Lennox sounded amazing.
Everybody don't sound like live the way they sound in the studio.
Ari Lennox sounded amazing live. Tems I was very surprised with Tems. I wasn't really a big Tems fan, but vocally she really impressed me as well. I think what made Kehlani sound so great is they brought the key down, so she didn't have to strain. Everybody can sing. If she did sung it up not saying I still think she would have murdered it in an original key, but you know, as saying is, bro, when you bring that key down, it's like lifting 20-pound weights. When you're lifting 60-pound weights, you're just gonna be able to do so much more because it's sitting lower in your register, so you can just take it somewhere else. So I just like the preparation she took to do that because she performed, because she rehearsed that, and since it sits so comfortable in her key, she's gonna murder it. She's gonna murder it.
Yeah,
That that
I love the structure of it. Like they turned it into a more of a ballad, right? But with it had like a modulation part in it. It felt more energetic. It felt powerful. And then the wing coming
Yeah.
on, like for all of you out there, the screens are really really expensive. So that was a huge investment for that show. But it brought so much to the entire performance. So whoever's idea was like amazing. Hats off to you at BET. But her performance was dope, and it's because exactly what you said, Kev. Like they changed. They basically took our expectation of what we was expecting to hear with Folded and then flipped it. So when you go into
Yeah.
expecting something and they come in with something different, and what they're coming with is high level quality, the energy and everything. Like it blew me away. I love that. Those are my hands down favorite.
you could tell that she does a lot of performances too, because when you think about it, what makes sense when you're touring? You know, preserving your voice. And how do you preserve your voice? If you go a little easier, if you bring, keys down and stuff like that. So I'm not surprised that, that's what she came up with, because I know she's all over the place, performing, so a great idea. But what about you, Left? What stood out to you?
Kehlani is definitely like hands down my favorite. I like T.I.'s first. He first came off like, okay, it's just, starting with a hip hop song, but I like T.I. and he's absolutely dope. The song then in the middle started turning into something more. I mean, the song always is what it is, but this the way the dancing and performance came out. It started high energy. It served its purpose. It kicked up the energy to a certain level for the entire show, and I think it was brilliant. So having him start the show and the song riding out the way that it did, and the stage set and all the dances, I absolutely love that. Still love Kehlani's better than that, but I gotta shout out that. And then like what happened to, I say this why, like I wish I was in the show. KWN's performance got cut off on Paramount Plus. Like, why they do KWN like that? She only sang like maybe 2 sentences of the first verse, and then they cut it off and put on like ads. Did y'all like that performance? I mean, it wasn't really much of a performance for me, unless y'all saw a different version.
Yeah, it was kind of cut short for me too. For me, when I was watching her, I could tell she's still coming into her artistry as an artist and stage performances. She was real low key with it. But then again, when I go back to her videos in my mind, I'm like, she wasn't doing much. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like she's on the stage, ripping and running. She's just like a real mellow artist. And I really, really, really enjoy her voice. But let me add, for everybody that performed, the background singers, my God.
Yes.
And it reminded me of what you get from them BET Awards. I feel like the background singers are a star of the show too. I'm listening to things happening in the background, harmonies, arrangements, and I'm like, oh, man, that sounds amazing. And big shout out to all the background singers that performed at the BET Awards. I wish I had names, because they were blowing it out the park. Like, I was thoroughly impressed. As and as an R&B group member, from back in the day, I'm going to appreciate those harmonies and those arrangements. Fire. Fire.
Yeah. Yo, so like I don't, I don't like to be like negative, so I'm not gonna say like who was not the best
negative.
performer. Nah. I'm the middle ground. All of y'all out there, I'm the middle ground. Y'all give me the worst. Who was the worst? Who was the worst? Who was the worst performance?
Worst performance?
If you had to choose one, yeah. Like the least entertaining.
Nah, yeah, it's hard because the funny thing is, I'm a hard critic, but I was, as an artist, I had to appreciate everybody's performance. Everybody knew their assignment. No one came off to me. No one came off looking like they didn't know what they was doing. They just kind of like, winging it. Everybody came very prepared and it sounded good for what they do. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you say who was my favorite, that's one thing. But like, for example, like, I'm not a fan. Let me say that. I'm a fan of Ari Lennox. I like her music, but I don't listen to it on a regular basis. So when I watched the performance, it didn't really move me, but she still sounded amazing, and I know it still spoke to her fans.
Flip, you mentioned Lauryn Hill in the very beginning. Lauryn Hill had a beautiful tribute, and I think it's amazing that Lauryn Hill, who's only really released one album, right? I think it's amazing that releasing one album, you have something that's absolutely classic and timeless and speaks still to this very day. The same issues that Lauryn Hill was talking about are still relevant today. So that's what makes it timeless. What do you guys think about the tribute and the idea of somebody like Lauryn Hill being a cultural icon and the way that she is with only having like one album?
I thought it was phenomenal, and it also took me back. Remember, I said it was a time machine. It took me back to how disappointed I was that she walked away from music and didn't give us another album. It reminded me of how I felt. I was like, what do you mean you're not doing music no more? And where are these? It was the equivalent of, like Usher or Beyonce dropping one album and never coming out again. I felt like she could have been that great. I felt like if she would have kept pumping out albums and singles, that our history would look our musical history would look different. Because she started out so high, I just felt like, the universe was the limit. And it reminded me when she didn't put out no more music, I was just like, hey, what the hell, yo? But then again, it brought me back to earth because all it did was just make me dive into her music even more. You know what? I could play that again. Let me put that one back on. Yeah, I forgot about that one. That's what the performances did for me. I was just reminded, banger, hit after hit. I was just like, man, talented.
Yo, and a lot of the songs that she played weren't like on her album. They were like on the Fugees album too. So technically, she's had
and
albums
features.
on yeah. Like so, I think it's amazing and dope. And can we talk very quick? You talking about features? Can we talk very quick about how like Nas doesn't age? Like Nas came in to do like If I Ruled the World. And looking like he, like you said, black don't crack, like for real, bro. Or maybe that's just rich money that keeps you looking young like
that's
that.
endorsement money you talking about, baby. He getting them checks.
Yo, like Nas did an amazing job. He looks at me because he's like 50 something years old. Not that that's old. It's not old at all. Like, but I'm saying like it was an amazing performance, and that song is timeless. And he's one of my top 5 rappers like ever. So it was really really good to see that.
Hey,
Kev, what are your thoughts
on the bug bite her?
The what?
Did you see the bug bite her? The performance bug? She was moved so much she had to get on stage.
To get up there.
She's like,
I need to get up there.
Nobody's doing that one? All right, I'm going up.
Yeah, exactly. And she did the 2 songs. It's just like I need to do, some other joints up there. So it definitely better. So like I love that. But what do you think, Kev? Like what are your thoughts on Lauryn Hill and the cultural impact that her one album had on music in general?
Amazing. I mean, I think as artists, as we all strive for that type of impact as an artist, it lets you know that you don't need a whole bunch of records. If you got it, you got it. She really got a cult following, and she just, I don't know, she was able to do something that most artists can't do, and that's just stay unforgettable. Like Flip said, you mentioned Fugees. I remember when Fugees first came out, telling me softly, I had it on replay all day long. That was my first introduction into Lauryn Hill, the Fugees album. And then she dropped her a debut album, and everybody was playing it. And she also dropped the album in an era where we still appreciated the consumption of music. It wasn't microwavable because you had to go physically buy a CD. It was sitting in your CD your CD drive for a long time. So you got to remember the album drop. We was in high school, so that was a core memory for a lot of people. So timing, impact, relevancy of her and the songs that she did, that combination, all she needed was one album. I mean, I don't think Lauryn Hill really desired to be an artist. Like some people
What?
just because they
How?
because
She absolutely like she couldn't live her life without making the content that she did. She was an actress. She was a rapper. She was a singer. She's an alien, bro.
I think he's talking about the fame that came with it. Sometimes that can be a lot for people.
I feel like she wasn't trying to do the play the game of like I'm gonna let this industry take over me and give me the pressure that it usually gives all the other artists. I'm not playing that game. That's what I felt like she got. But yeah, I didn't mean to cut you off, Kev. Continue.
No, it's all good because like there's people they just don't want to play that game. Like to allude to what Flip's saying, And so I think the one album came from her like, yeah, I'm done. Maybe that was her mission. Maybe it was like the whole Forrest Gump thing. I'm gonna run and I'm just going to go. That's it. I accomplished what I want to accomplish. I made my own
great
album.
Analogy. Yes.
Did the Fugees. I don't have nothing else to give musically no more to my fans or knife to my fans. To myself, I completed what I wanted for myself. I got my one
Yo,
album lined up, and that's
that's
it.
so hard. You absolutely like hit it right on. That's the energy I get from it too. You hit it right on the nail, bro. It's like I'm gonna own this in the way I'm going to own this, and I'm not playing any of these other games. You know, like
Right.
I'm gonna leave the Fugees, do my thing. I already did the acting thing. I just needed to do that. You know, that just for a quick second, and then I'm gonna do this music thing. And that's what you said. Mission. That's exactly what it felt like.
Yeah, if
Like
I could mention.
like Lauryn Hill came for, and like my mission is this, and this is all I'm doing. And she spoke to a generation. Her album, you said like it meant a lot to us because we were in high school around the time. You're absolutely right. And like the album is coming from like a classroom concept from high school, speaking to that age group, and it's still relevant today, you know? So like that's why it makes it timeless. That was like she made a bow tie, beautiful album. Said, "This is what I have to contribute, and this is all I care about. This is all I'm gonna give." You
That's
hit that
most.
right on the nail.
And it's
That's most
etched in
big.
history.
That's most big artists. You know, when you look at your cult superstars like the Jay-Z of the world, the Beyoncés of the world, the Lauryn Hills, the Nas, like you just mentioned, T.I.'s. These were artists that were like people like idols in high school. You know what I'm saying? You gotta think about high school. High school is a time when you're trying to find yourself, you find identity, you find yourself culturally, you know, you finding the person you want to be and who you are. So these people look at these people like big uncle, auntie, big brother, little big sister. So she gave that to a generation of women and men, and that never faded. You know, you gonna like Flip said, it takes me right back. You know, so it's like if as an artist, if you can have that impact, it's crazy. I don't know if a lot of artists can do that now. That's sometimes they suffer with now. You get what I'm saying? Like, are you really growing with Kehlani like that? Are you really growing with Ari Lennox and maybe Tems, but are you really growing with these artists so they can have that longevity in their career? Or are you just a fan of their one song or their music and just say, all right, I'm done because you're not invested in them as an artist because you're not growing with them. You just invested in the song. You know what I'm saying?
I feel like that's a combination of the artist and the fan. I feel like the fan of music has changed and also the artist has changed. So to the artist's defense, it's not even all their fault no more because nowadays fans, we're so like,
No. But you but
wishy.
you but you brought but you brought up Coco Jones, right? We go off air, we talk about Coco Jones. And she talk about she don't know who she is as an artist. She's
I
still trying to figure
never
that out.
came into this game knowing exactly like what I do. Like I knew I could sing my ass off. Like that was pretty clear. That was kind of like the only consistent. But like I didn't really have like a thing. You know, I don't think I really had like a thing. Personality, sure. Like relatable, I guess. I don't know.
Right?
Anyway.
Again,
Mm-hmm.
are you speaking to that audience? Because you're just doing songs. Now we gonna remember you. Oh, that's Coco Jones. She's dope. She's married to the ball player. Yada yada yada. She was on Fresh Prince. But did you impact music culturally? Do people feel that they grew with you? Did people feel that they can identify with you? And that's something that a lot of artists trouble, doing. And I think he spoke to it without
Yeah.
really speaking to it. He spoke to the first feature like, I don't know what else to do. Yeah, because you're not connecting. Then Chloe Bailey gonna do the same issue. Now she working with Timbaland. Like, Leah spoke to people culturally. That's why she passed away over 20
Yeah.
years ago, and she's still iconic. They still doing tributes for her. Well, she had 2 albums maybe.
Yeah.
She was like 23 when she passed away, and she's still being spoke about the way she. I know it was tragic, but still, you get what I'm saying? Like, you
Yeah.
got artists that's
Yeah.
out here that's
Yeah.
not able to put that kind of impact in their music, and not because they're not good enough, not because they don't look good, they don't sound good. It's just something that's not catching. It's not catching.
Yeah. That's an interesting point, and we could touch on that real quick because I'm going to get back into the BET thing, but it's really important that Coco Jones in that video, like Flip, you sent that to us, and it's crazy, but not too crazy to see that she's going through that. And it kind of touches with the Lauryn Hill thing because Lauryn Hill came out and said like, I'm good at this. I can act, but I'm really good about singing. And I also love rap. So she did all of it, right? And did it all really, really well. But then, like she said, my mission is just this. Like, this is my message that I have. I came
Yeah.
to say this message. And she made that album. Some artists, I think that some artists come in with the mindset of like, my goal is just to be famous and I can sing. So I'll do whatever I can, like I'll try all different types of music or whatever and show that I can do it all. But when you come into music with that energy, you struggle finding your lane. You struggle finding what makes you. So like seeing Coco Jones, it felt like that. It's like, yo, she's an amazing vocalist. She's beautiful. She could sing her ass off. She got range. She's got skill. Why is she feeling like this? Sounds like the people that she's surrounding herself with are pulling her into different directions. Try this, try this, try this, try that. And then the other thing too is, I think everybody's attention span is very different. We don't live in a world where music is curated for us. So now we have the ability to curate our own music, our own listening habits, our own things. This is why YouTube is as huge as it is. This is why like Spotify and streaming, it gives everybody the ability to just create their own listening habits, right? Whereas like radio cultivated that for you. Radio was
Yes.
controlled by the labels, right? And it made everybody like didn't have a choice. I had to listen to this song played by this DJ. I have no other choice. Whereas like, you know, and if you wanted to play on a tape or a CD back in the day, you had to, you know, go and get it yourself. Now you can create your own stuff, but yeah.
You was forced to listen to a CD. Think about it. You put a CD in your CD disc, your Walkman or whatever, your CD Walkman. You go on the bus for school. It skipped while you on the bus, but you listen to the whole CD because you just spent $20 on it. You listen to the deep cuts. You really getting invested into the project. Now with Apple Music, Spotify, you listening to a song. You know, and like you said, it's a whole bunch of songs that's just jumbled up from various artists, like collaboration albums. You don't even get a chance to even dive deep into albums like that anymore. You know, music is just so disposable now that culturally it's hard to connect with the artist. You know,
Great point.
and I felt like that's why you look at the Druskis of the world, why they're winning so much, because they constantly building culture. Like this is what the kids now are growing with, you know. And I feel like artists are having a hard time doing that, especially R&B artists, because I feel like we always naturally kind of got lost in our music. And sometimes we couldn't really impact our culture like we need to. Like I said, I don't feel like these artists like Ari Lennox and them are able to have that impact. Kehlani been in the game for over 10 years. Over 10 years, you know, it's like a fifth album. She's now starting to get some type of appreciation for that one song. Not even an album, that one song where you got someone
Well,
like Lauryn Hill.
she won the best female artist in, you know, for her album. So I'm really happy that she did. She deserved that. Her album is fire.
Yeah, but how many?
But
But
yeah,
how
you're
many
right.
people
Like
could
she's
they?
just getting that now. Yeah.
But the average fan probably know that just that one song. You know, when before we
But
listen,
sometimes that's
before
what
I
it takes. Sometimes it takes that one song.
Yeah, I get it, but I feel like, but like I said, now that one song, I love that song, right? What you did back in the day, you would have bought the album. You love that one song. Now you putting that one song, that album in your display, and you listening to the whole album. Now you're invested into the artist. Now I'm listening to that one
Yeah.
song. If I'm diving into the rest of the project, if I'm really finding out who she is as an artist, I'm listening to that one song.
So you're saying that back in the day when we had the CD and the tapes and stuff, like you would, because you invested financially into the artist, and you had to play the entire album, right? So you said I might as well listen to the entire songs or all the songs on the album because I invested in this time.
Yeah, you had
You know,
no
so I want to
choice.
really understand and learn this. Yeah.
Think
Whereas
about
now, like streaming allows you to just, I just only like that
Yeah.
song. I'll skip the other.
Cause you walked out
Kev,
your
what
house
you're
with
making
like
me
3 or
think.
4 CDs. Well, your house with 3 or 4
Yeah,
CDs.
but that was a different time.
That's my
That
point,
was a
though.
different time. The formula nowadays is to throw as much shit at the wall and see what sticks. And Kehlani's kind of actually a good example of that. You just said she put out how many albums? She's been out for 10 years. One of them finally stuck. So now
Right.
the real fans that are fans of her are going to go back to those albums. They're going to buy those
You would
albums.
hope, yeah.
And they're also
Yeah.
going to look at the new stuff that she does. You know, I do agree with you, though. I do agree on this point that they're no longer growing artists from the ground up. We mentioned Aaliyah earlier. Aaliyah was part of one of the dopest camps ever. Static, Genuine, Timbaland, Chlöe. Like, she had Missy Elliott. She had a label, a team, a family around her. That's the kind of thing that bursts an Aaliyah. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of artists nowadays, they aren't grown like that. They're actually picked based off of their talent and their look. And then they're given records by popping producers or popping songwriters, and the hope is that they blow up because they look good and they can sing. That's not really the formula for success, but that's what they hope. And it has worked sometimes. But to your point, Kev, to me, those are not longevity artists. Those are not artists that we're going to see every year and we're going to be talking about them 20 years from now. Those are artists, to your point, that we're going to be like, yeah, I think I remember somebody that named that. And they were just here for the moment because they had a hit. So I 100% agree with you. Like, and that still goes back to that, conversation we had about A&Rs. These are the guys that cultivate that kind of talent. The labels and the families, these are the kind of people that birth that kind of artist that lasts forever. And we do have a lot of those still nowadays, but for the most part, it's so microwave that a lot of artists are doing it the quick way. Trying to put together a look, trying to put together a sound, and then it's not working.
And try
but they
different things, try different things.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that they struggle because they're trying so many different things that they start to lose who they are, or never really discover.
But it is a formula that works. It just doesn't work in my mind and maybe Kev's mind for the long run. Like you might get a bang out of it, and you might be a one-hit wonder. Like that term exists for a reason. You came out with one song, and we never heard from you again.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad we touched up on that because I felt for Coco Jones. She deserves a lot more, and I hope that she's able to find the right team to bring out the best in her. Because I definitely know she's got some really amazing untapped songs that'll touch people, and she just needs to be around the right people. Don't be afraid to reach out to them people, Coco. Sometimes you got to spend a little money to get with the right producer that's going to bring out the right.
But listen, it's happening
music.
now. Look at, like I said, Chloe Bailey just did a project with Timbaland. It's like the rebirth of Aaliyah, the new project. Some people like it, like, wow, this is dope. Some people are like, hey, you biting off Aaliyah. We heard this before.
Wait, can I ask you something? What do you mean by, because that made me twitch. What do you mean the rebirth of Aaliyah? Did somebody say that? Did somebody post that online?
Bro, you gotta hear the album,
like,
bro. It's all Timbaland old beats. It's Aaliyah vibe, the whole melodic singing. It sounds like Aaliyah records. Like if Aaliyah didn't die, this would have been her new project, her next project.
You got my attention. You got my attention.
Listen to Chloe, but if you check online, listen to it. It sounds like, you're like, yo, what the hell? It's like Aaliyah, but a lot of people are pushing back on it because it's dear to them. That's Aaliyah. You can't touch Aaliyah. You can't try to steal her sound for clout. But it can work. It can't work. But she's still trying to find the sound.
It triggered me. It triggered me in that, like, if they're trying to use that avenue to try to get that attention, it is kind of cheap. But I'm going to save my judgment.
That's music, though, man. That's music, though, man. What's this dude's name that sound like Biggie? What's the guy dude that sound like Biggie? Diddy did not hesitate. Shine sound like
yeah.
Biggie, what's the girl like? All right, we're gonna put her out. And then there's other versions of it. I felt like for a while, Tems reminded me of Rihanna, her sound wise.
Yeah, I can see that.
And I was like, and I was at a time when Rihanna was like getting that that Fenty money and wasn't really putting out songs.
Yeah.
So like there are lanes that are created, and then when the artists stop, you can't be mad at other artists or labels, whoever you want to give it to, trying to fill that lane.
Pick it up. Yeah, trying to pick it up.
I think
it happens all the time.
But it's a little different for Tems then, because like I said, Chloe literally went to Timbaland and recreated that sound. I think Tems just really being herself. I just think that's a good analogy. I think she is kind of fit into that Rihanna lane. I think she's a stronger performer than
sound wise.
Yeah, sound wise she is, but definitely got the same vibe. But that goes back to what you were saying before too. Like I think she's leaning more of a co-artist than the rest of these artists. I feel like she has a strong following like that, more than any of the other artists that we just named. Even Kehlani, I feel like Tems came out the gate or hot, and she got a strong core audience.
She feels organic. Like when I watch her perform, I feel like I'm getting somebody that was in their living room singing in front of their parents, and they were telling, "You go, girl." She has this beautifulness to her. She has this like organic talent. She's not the craziest riffer. She doesn't have this outstanding range. She just does what she does, but she does it well. And I could tell she's been doing it for a long time. And she's been blessed with the records. Like I hate to always bring it up, but when you got those songs that pierce the veil and are able to get to the masses, those are the things that bring your fans to you. I feel like I would love for Coco to have more of those.
Yeah. Well, I think she'll get it.
No, I was saying Rihanna too. She's a lot like how Lauryn Hill is to me too. Like she came, she did what she wanted to do, and she out. I'm saying like she made her album, she made her impact, but she's not a true like blue blood like a Beyonce or I gotta make records, I gotta keep like it's very few artists that have that that drive. You know, some artists
Yeah.
just want to get a
Or
chip.
sometimes they just get tired of the industry crap, and then they say like, I'm not gonna play this game. I'm gonna shift. And I think that Rihanna had a little bit of that too. But I mean,
Lauren's the GOAT with that though. Like I feel like Lauren, she did it at the precipice. How many people stopped? The only person that I can think of is Dave Chappelle. How many people actually are at the top of their career and they're like, you know what? Pause. I can't right now. Like there's very few. There's people that get their flowers. I mean, that get all the accolades and the money and all that, and then they stop. Lauryn Hill didn't do that. Lauryn Hill was on her way, climbing. So she's at the top of the hill when I think about that. And then just so I can add, I know I'm going off the chain, but I feel like, and they don't really talk about this a lot, but I feel like some artists are also faced with a sell your soul moment where they're faced with something that they're like, that's not part of my identity and my core. And not that it scares them straight, but they make a choice. And to me, she's one of the ones that stands out the most. She was at the height of her career and something made her make a choice. And I feel like that's that sell your soul moment. Some artists, quote unquote, sell their soul, and some artists are like, nah, I can't do it.
We are the vocal line. Hear me turn it up, can you hear the sound? We are the vocal line. Yeah, we do it for the love and we spread it around.